You're now watching This AFC South Show on Curtis Podcast Network, hosted by Curtis Brown and Blake Bellamy. Hello, everybody, and welcome to This AFC South Show. I'm your host, Curtis Brown, and with me, as always, Blake Bellamy. And today, newcomer Isaiah Michelli, and he's a Jags fan. So the Jags, we've been trying to get some representation. We finally got some. So Isaiah is a very well-versed football aficionado, we'll call it, and we're excited to have him on. So let's get into the normal things. First up, 100 subscriber goal by the end of September. Last episode was huge. Thank you guys for the support on that one. Added 10 subscribers, got a lot, actually I think 11, so a lot closer to our goal. Again, the one lucky subscriber between our current number and 100 will be getting one free item from the merch store of their choice. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button and smash the like button. But let's get into fantasy. Blake, how's your fantasy teams working out so far?
Real quick, I do want to give an extra shout out to Isaiah. It's hard to find a Jags fan. You're the only second Jags fan I've ever met in my entire life, and I'm glad you're here.
We do exist.
We do exist, dude. It's like seeing a unicorn. So now I've seen two of them, plural unicorns. But fantasy-wise, man, it's been a good year. It's picking up where I left off last year, man. I'm in 4 leagues, undefeated in both. So I'm 8-0 so far in the year. I did, though, have 3 big injuries. I had Jerry Jeudy, Josh Jacobs, Hunter Renfrow, and somebody else, and they all got James Conner, and they all got hurt, and they were all in the same game. And it still ended up winning somehow. That's how dominant everyone else was. But so I lost a lot of starters. For our league, though, this week I got Patrick Mahomes, Breece Hall for now, Antonio Gibson, Cooper Kupp, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Mark Andrews, George Kittle, Green Bay's defense, which I don't feel great about, and then Daniel Carlson to round out my starters for the week.
Hell yeah. Not a bad lineup there. Any players you think are going to absolutely just go the hell off?
I think Cooper Kupp's going to probably ball out. I hope this might be the breakout game for Breece Hall. Apparently, he's probably going to get more touches. There's definitely an upward trajectory, so I keep starting him in some leagues. I think I have him in all 4 leagues almost. So I've just been just waiting, and some of them I'll bench him, but I hope George Kittle comes back, and I'm glad that I'm not glad that Trey Lance got hurt, but fantasy-wise, I think that helps Kittle. So hopefully he recovers well, but I think the Kittle-Garoppolo connection is just amazing. So I'm ready for that.
Isaiah, we hadn't really talked about it, but you're in fantasy, right?
Too many. Too many. I was actually going to limit it this year to 3. I got a family league, my buddy's family league that I've been in for probably 5-6 years running now. I have my own league that I run on the Sleeper app. I don't know if you guys use that or not. It's just a regular pick league. I mean, I've got a dynasty league that I'm in. That's a different animal. I thought I could go young and win it all, and it's not shaping up how I thought it would. I'm doing pretty good so far. My 2 main money leagues, my family league and then my friend's family league, I'm 2-0 in both of them. I'm the top scorer in one of them, not in the other. But I mean, going pretty all right so far. I've only lost 3 games so far out of my 5 leagues. So I mean, it's coming along, but I'm in too many.
Yeah,
that's the nature of the beast right there. I swear, once you tell somebody you're playing fantasy football, they're like, "Oh, you should be in my league."
Let me tell you something crazy, man. Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good, brother. You're good,
dude. I was like, I'm in too many leagues this year. In one of my chats, and I got into a free league. The last one is a dynasty. It was free. I did a lot better in that one drafting. The dude was like, "Oh yeah, I'm in 20 leagues, blah 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 blah," and I was like, "You're in what?" He was like, "Yeah, a couple of us in here are in 15 to 20 apiece." I was like, "Yeah, y'all are crazy."
There's no way you can keep up with that many leagues. There's no. That takes all day.
That's literally, you're sitting on your phone for 4 hours. That's too much.
I can't do
it. You got any fantasy players you're looking to have a breakout game today? Or not today, but this week?
Man, I was hoping for Trey Lance, but that's not going to happen anymore. I had picked him up in one of my leagues. And luckily I have Tannehill. Well, I say luckily. Well, I have Tannehill on the bench. I had Kenny Pickett on the bench because I thought he was gonna, pop in there and do something. But I'm hoping one of those two can do something for me. I tried to pick up Jimmy G, but I don't know if he cleared the waivers yet or not. But not really too ETN. That's what I wanted to break out. Of course, I'm a Jags fan, so I drafted ETN in like 3
I
of
have
my
ETN
leagues.
in a lot. I'm waiting for him to pop off.
And Robinson,
the Titans, but I hope ETN balls out.
Dude, Robinson has not missed a step, and that's really surprising. And ETN hasn't. He had that drop touchdown in week 1, but I'm hoping he breaks out because 1 for Jacksonville, 2 for my fantasy sanity.
Yeah, we've always been a big fan of James Robinson on the show, like big time. Like we always
I like him a lot.
So like football wise, I'd rather James Robinson ball out, but fantasy wise, I was really banking on ETN this year, at least for PPR leagues anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that just leaves me, and I've only won 1 game in 3 leagues, and so not very hot. In our league, these are my starters this week. I might switch Herbert and Goff here, but that's because Herbert's ribs are a huge problem. But as it stands right now, it's Justin Herbert, Najee Harris, Javonte Williams. I got to move Renfro out of the lineup. Adam Thielen, Darren Waller, Damian Harris, the Ravens defense, and Bass, the kicker for the Buffalo Bills. Let me tell you something, guys. The Ravens defense last week put me through so much shit. At one point they had like 15 points, 16 points, something like that, and then by the end of the game they were down to 2. That was annoying. God, that really hurt.
Help me. I was going against Buffalo's defense, like I think in 2 leagues, and I was just like, oh, it's gonna be a long day. And I ended up having Tampa's defense, and they balled out, and Baltimore did nothing.
Yeah, absolutely nothing. But let's get into the picks now. Isaiah, what you got your picks in front of you?
I sure do.
Let's hear what you got for this week.
So, some of them I'm a little bit on the fence on, but I had to do it. So, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, I got Pittsburgh taking it away. I don't know how long Mitchell Trubisky will last. I think he's going to be the starter throughout the full week, but there's a chance he gets pulled depending on the situation, and it is a division rival, so they're not going to, dick around and let him take too much time to get into the game. I got Houston over Chicago. I think it'll be a really good test for Houston. Chicago's better than people let them on to be. Eberflus has really turned it around in terms of their defense and everything. And I like Pierce. Pierce has been getting more touches. He definitely needs to be the focal point, not Rex Burkhead. I got Las Vegas over Tennessee. Sorry. Tennessee, just as of right now with the quarterback troubles, I think Tannehill can turn it around. There's a chance. The way he played last week, Malik Willis might be the starter by week 8. But also Las Vegas is now 0-2, and one of those is to the Chargers. So, they're pissed off. They're coming. And their last week's loss was embarrassing
Arizona,
as well.
that was rough.
That was embarrassing. Kansas City over Indy. We all had that one. I don't even have to explain that one any further. Buffalo over Miami. I think Miami's looking good, but you got to also look back to their week 1 production. Can Tua throw 6 touchdowns and 500 yards every game? Probably not. Buffalo's defense is insane. They're number 3, I think, in points allowed, if I'm not mistaken. Detroit over Minnesota. That was one I was on the fence about. I think Detroit looked good last week. I think Hutchinson's going to wreak havoc on that backfield again. Minnesota's O-line is, it's kind of weak, but kind of stout at the same time. Receiving core, of course, they have Justin Jefferson and Thielen, but Thielen's kind of downtrending. They're not throwing to him as much. If they can get in Kirk's head early, I think that's going to be a W for Detroit. Baltimore over New England. I don't really like New England personally, but biases aside, Baltimore is just too high powered for that New England defense. And Mac Jones, with all the speed they have on Baltimore's defense, I think they're gonna, he's gonna struggle.
Yeah.
Cincinnati over New York. I think it's about time the Bengals gonna win. I don't think Joe Burrow's got too much to worry about with the Jets pass rush. They could be scary. They could be, the same old Jets. But they did put up a good fight against, the Jacoby Brissett-led Browns. Philly over Washington. Don't think I need to explain that. Jalen Hurts is looking like the best quarterback in football right now. Carolina over New Orleans. That's one I was on the fence about, but I think Baker might pull a little magic out, and they might go 1-2 here. Jacksonville over Los Angeles Chargers. Personally, I'd like to have Herbert sat, not because I want to win that game, but because I like Herbert a lot, and I have him in fantasy. That's a side note. But he's a Josh Allen, Trayvon Walker sack away from not playing for 3 to 6 weeks.
That's true. Yeah.
because I mean that's a rib cartilage fracture that goes from that to a break real quick. Rams over Arizona. I think Arizona's looked terrible this year. You know, I mean the Raiders are just known to let it up in the end, and I know they can't just feed through Waller and Adams. Whenever they start doubling them, they kind of lock up. Running game hasn't been as good. Atlanta over Seattle. I think it's about time Atlanta gets a win. I want to see Ritter start, but that's beside the point. Green Bay, Tampa Bay. I've got Tampa Bay winning that game. Their defense is good. They're starting to click. San Fran over Denver. Jimmy G looked good last week when he came in. And I've got the Giants over Dallas because Dallas sucks. And I don't think Cooper Rush is going to go 2-0 to start, but we'll see.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree on the Cowboys there.
Yeah.
They're just a dumpster fire right now. Blake, what you got?
Honestly, man, I had a lot of really similar ones. I had Steelers over a few differences, but I had Steelers over the Browns. I also had Houston over Chicago. The Titans one, I honestly kept going back and forth with this one. I would never bet money on the Titans. I'm 0-2 on the Titans this year. I thought they would have at least won one of those games. I hate to do it because I feel like a fanboy. I'm going Tennessee again. I feel like they got embarrassed so bad that there's just no way that they're going to lose. However, I would not be mad if the Titans got blown out and then we fired Todd Downing, but I'll get into that later. Chiefs over the Colts, obviously. I'm not stupid. I have Bills over Dolphins. Yeah, kind of for the same reason, man. And then Buffalo is really the team to beat. Josh Allen is on fire. Stephon Diggs, they've only punted 5 of their last 8 games. That is insane.
Yeah.
And Titans were one of them, by the way. So the hope is not all lost. I have the Vikings over the Lions. Just that receiving core is incredible. Justin Jefferson's amazing. Dalvin Cook. I think Kirk Cousins had such a bad game that he'll kind of bounce back. He's terrible in prime time. He's really good at those noon games that nobody watches. No one's going to watch the Vikings and Lions. So I think he's going to probably throw 4 touchdowns and be all right. I have the Ravens over Patriots. That was a rough game. This could be a slip up and Patriots could win this one, but I can't stand Mac Jones. I'm kind of preying on the Patriots' downfall ever since Tom Brady left. I can't stand the Patriots. I hope they go. I also think Bengals are finally going to get their first win. There's no way they're going to go 0-3, especially to the Jets. Eagles over the Commanders. I disagree with the whole Jalen Hurts thing. I think he does look good, but I don't think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I think he might be lightning in the bottle. I have the Saints over the Panthers, although I don't like this pick very much at all. I don't like Jameis. Baker, I want Baker to be better, but he's just, he's not. He's better than Darnold, and even Darnold's hurt. I have the Chargers going over the Jaguars, but that's assuming Herbert plays. If he doesn't play, was it Chase Daniels at their backup?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you guys will beat a Chase Daniel-led Chargers. Your defense it looks really nice. I have the Rams over the Cardinals. I think Cliff Kingsbury is on the hot seat, and it's getting hotter. If they lose here, it's going to be rough because it's a divisional game. I also have Tampa Bay over the Packers. And I have the Broncos beating the 49ers. Russ Wilson hasn't looked that great, but I think it'll get better. And then I have the Giants over the Cowboys. I don't think Rush is going to go 2-0 either. He looks all right. He definitely has command of that offense. I like the connection with him and Noah Brown. That looked really nice, but I'm going with the Giants. I think the Giants actually look all right this year. I would not be shocked if they go 3-0. This would be the first 3-0 in, God, a long, long time, over a decade.
Yeah.
But I actually believe in them. As long as Saquon Barkley stays healthy, I think they could be all right. I don't really like Daniel Jones very much, but everything else is pretty solid.
Yeah, no, I have to agree that the quarterback situation in New York is just tragically.
Hard to trust it.
Oh, God. Oh, man. You guys remember Eli Manning?
Yeah, I remember Eli Manning.
Now he's making
Super Bowls.
And now he's making all the damn commercials where he's with Peyton and he's like, Peyton's not cool, but I am. It's like, you're literally a meme for being the most emotionless person.
Have you seen his undercover yet at Penn State?
Yeah.
That
goofy guy. My picks, I got the Steelers over the Browns. I got the Texans over the Bears. I've got the Titans over the Raiders.
Thank you.
I think they have to have a get right game, and I think at home. Now, I will say, if they don't win this game, I think all hell's going to break loose. Chiefs over the Colts. Don't need to explain that one. Bills over the Dolphins. Lions over the Vikings. I really like what Dan Campbell and the Lions have been doing. I watched Hard Knocks, and I'm telling you, Dan Campbell is an infectious person. That energy is just incredible. And then you got the Ravens over the Patriots, Bengals over the Jets, Eagles over the Commanders, Saints over the Panthers. Not because I just trust Jameis or anything, but just I don't trust Baker.
Michael Thomas is looking good too, though.
That's true. He had a pretty solid game last week. Chargers over the Jaguars, assuming Herbert is playing. Rams over the Cardinals. Falcons over the Seahawks. The Buccaneers over the Packers. And then 49ers over the Broncos. Giants over the Cowboys, because there's only one team in Texas. And and that's the way the cookie crumbles, folks. All right, so a couple of those were just kind of a little dicey for me. There was a lot of games where I was just like, kind of could go either way here.
Mm-hmm.
Like Falcons, Seahawks.
Yeah.
And Geno Smith could be like, hey, I'm going to incomplete 3 passes today. And that would just completely destroy the Falcons.
Yeah, I mean, those are bottom 6 teams.
Absolutely. But let's get into the breakdowns and previews for the Colts and the Chiefs. So let's see. That's not it. That's also not it. That's the Titans. That's the Jaguars. There it is. Okay, I got there. All right. So with the Colts, the O-line is clearly not playing well outside of Quentin Nelson. I mean, Quentin Nelson's Quentin Nelson. He's an all-pro guard. You can see, if anybody has the ability to watch the L22, go watch any footage of Quentin Nelson to just figure out what a good guard play looks like. Because basically anytime anybody goes up against him, he's throwing them into the ground and just laying on them, which is just like technically perfect. So I don't know what the hell happened. I feel like the Colts went from like the best offensive line in the South to the most underperforming offensive line in the South in a matter of like 15 seconds.
Yeah, the bar was really high and they've just been trash.
Yeah, what the hell? I mean, I guess that's kudos to the Jags and the Texans for providing, actual pass rush for the first time in a little bit. But I mean, even still, like that offensive line, you got Braden Smith and Ryan Kelly. Those are perennial Pro Bowlers. Those are like, top tier guys, and they're out here getting worked by journeyman defensive ends, Jerry Hughes and young buck Trayvon Williams out there. Not Williams. Walker. Yeah, Trayvon Walker. So I don't know what they got to do to get right. Jonathan Taylor even had like a really good game against the Texans, and they still couldn't really do much. So I don't know. Maybe it's just a lack of continuity thing, or the left tackle is just constantly in flux, so the gelling is not quite the way they need it to be. But they need to improve on that. That's for sure. Should Matt Ryan retire?
Yes.
Like right now?
I mean, let's just say he goes out and he's the reason that the Colts lose the game or the next couple games.
Wasn't it Vontae Davis that walked out on the Colts?
I was about to say he needs to pull a Vontae Davis and just get out of there.
Leave at halftime.
Halftime, just leave. Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where we're getting at. He looks really out of sync with everybody. He looks like he's trying his hardest to put everything he's got behind the ball. And there are passes against the Jaguars where it looked like I couldn't even tell where the ball was going. It was so poorly thrown. Mm-hmm. Like underthrown just terribly into a crowd of Jaguars.
Well, thank God that the decrepit Matt Ryan went to quarterback guru Frank Wright to revive his career.
Yeah, Frank Wright. What a guy.
Yeah, he's amazing. He does wonders for quarterbacks.
What a guy. Oh man.
Yeah, Matt Ryan personally, like I made a big post. I'm in an AFC South trash talk group chat on Facebook, and
Us
you
too.
know, I'm in the 2.0 chat. I talk trash, and I put about a big post about how Wentz wasn't the problem, how Matt Ryan looks terrible, and all these Colts fans are, oh, if you don't know anything about football, Matt Ryan has the most yards, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, he got 40 of those in overtime, sure. I was like, you know, Jonathan Taylor had a great game. I was like, Michael Pittman had a great game. I was like, but here's the thing. I was like, Wentz is still a better quarterback. And like, oh, wait, they just play the Jags. I'm like, okay, well, I hope you keep that energy. And people were saying that to me. I'm like, oh, these posts always come back to bite you in the ass and blah, blah, blah. And sure enough, I went back and replied to every single person who commented under there and said, F you, Duval, every single one of them. And, you know, now everybody's in there. Oh, Matt Ryan and Tannehill. Like, they were all arguing like which one was better, and now they're all arguing like, oh, we need to get him out of here, bring in new guys. F Andrew Luck, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, why are you bringing Luck back into this, dude? It was like your terrible offensive line is overpaid. It's like Quentin Nelson. I mean, he looked good most of the game. He got put on his back on that Roy Robertson Harris sack. I mean,
Oh, okay.
he just. I mean, it's a lot of that O-line all night was looking like a turnstile, dude. Matt Ryan was getting hit, pressured. I mean, like you said, a couple throws. The first pick of the game, I mean, 5-10 yards overthrown, and Rayshon Jenkins in the right place, right time, and then Cisco on the sideline. I mean, the one to Devin Lloyd, and that was a gimme. Fadakasi, you know, tipped that one, went right straight to him. But,
yeah,
dude, it's just Matt Ryan looks old. I mean, like, he looked okay in week one, but he actually looks the part. But, I mean, his whole career he's had, you know, one good receiver, a solid tight end, and then, you know, really no one else until Ridley came along. So it wasn't a big surprise that Michael Pittman being out and he just didn't know where to go with the ball or what to do.
Yeah. I mean, basically, once we heard that the top two wideouts were gone, we were like, oh, the Jags definitely have this. I thought they were going to score at some point, but...
Yeah, we both predicted them to win in our picks. And
they should have kicked a couple field goals. They got too aggressive. They went for it on a couple fourth downs. They were, you know, in field goal range. I mean, you can't get shut out in the NFL. You should never be shut out in the NFL, especially when you have like 6 red zone trips. I mean, they just couldn't get it done. They were trying to be too aggressive, and Reich was trying to, you know, channel his inner daddy and try a Dougie P and go for it on fourth down, and it just didn't happen.
Moving to the next topic. When do you guys heard anything about when Shaq Leonard or Michael Pittman Jr. is supposed to be back? Because I've heard a couple different times that Shaq Leonard might be coming back around like week 4 or 5. And then Michael Pittman Jr. is like week to week.
I thought both of them were week to week, but I'm not sure.
Well, they almost put...
Okay, Shaq Leonard's full participant in practice today.
He was a full participant last week.
But that means he's probably definitely coming soon.
Yeah.
I mean, they're probably this week or next then.
Oh, yeah. But, so obviously they're playing the Kansas City Chiefs, and this is kind of a twofold question here. Is this both a must-win and okay, it's obviously a must-win game this early in the season. It's an AFC South or an AFC opponent. You need that for the playoffs, but it's the Chiefs. I don't see many ways to win, but I feel like if there is a way to win, Matt Ryan has to like drink the elixir of youth or something, and Jonathan Taylor's got to be getting the ball at least 25 times on the ground alone.
I just don't think they're talented enough. I feel like they'd have to catch Kansas City sleeping. I think it'd have to be something like the Chiefs losing the game and not Indianapolis winning the game, really.
I could see that.
I don't see it happening.
I don't see it happening.
I don't see it either, but it has to have. There has to be.
That's what would have to happen. It would have to be like a quick pick six by Mahomes. Yeah. And then Jacksonville just get a quick score. Like it'd have to be something like that where Chiefs are having to abandon the run game early, and they love Edwards-Helaire. He's been looking really good. He's been getting the ball a lot. I think he's becoming a favorite of Patrick Mahomes in the run game.
Mm-hmm. The O-line's been moving. The O-line's been setting the tone really well. Recent years, they could pass block pretty decent, but Mahomes is still getting hit. But they couldn't really move the ball on the ground. Edwards-Helaire can never really find a gap. But they've adjusted the line of scrimmage every down this time around. Whether it's pass block, they're still coming out and punching him in the mouth. And they've looked good. But also Patrick Mahomes last year, I mean, he had a couple games early in the season. Like he looked really good, and then he'd do like 3 or 4 picks in a couple games at the beginning of the year. So it could just be, I don't think Shaq Leonard or Michael Pittman's win that game. So I would sit them still if they're still like on the fence whether they can participate or not. I don't think that putting them in the game wins you that game, but it kind of is a must win. I just don't see it happening with the Chiefs. They played too perfect this early in the season, and we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely playing hot right now. I don't have any faith in the Colts making this a game. If your first two opponents are the Jags and the Texans, and you're the Colts who have been, ramping up for a playoff season for the last couple years, I mean, you're not wanting to come out of the first 2 weeks 0-1-1, and you definitely can't afford to go 0-4-1 over the next couple games because they have a pretty rough stretch coming up. I think they play the Titans twice, wrapped around a bye week.
Yeah,
So-
Chiefs, Titans, I guess bye week and Titans again.
Yep. Yeah, Chiefs, Titans, bye week Titans. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I don't know if the Colts might be looking down the barrel at a new head coach pretty soon if I was a betting man. Let's move to the Texans game. So the Texans are playing my dad's favorite team, the Chicago Bears. It's also my older brother's favorite team. But, Lovey's obviously got some history with the Bears, taking him to a Super Bowl, playing against the Colts. And he's got the defense of the Texans playing pretty damn well to the point where even though the offense is doing nothing, the defense is keeping them in the game. And I think that's kind of one of the key, marquee things about what Lovie Smith's defenses have always really done is try to just not necessarily outright win the game on the defensive side, but make sure that offense has a chance to win the game. I think they will do more than that. I think the defense will probably make Justin Fields' life a living hell. I do think they'll run the ball pretty well because the Texans just can't stop the run for anything. But there's just an edge to this defense over the Bears defense. The Bears defense is really, it's like Eddie Jackson and Roquan Smith, and then old man Robert Quinn. So, I mean, it's going to be the battle of the old edge rushers with Jerry Hughes and Robert Quinn. I don't know who I'm deciding over, but oh God. Would you guys say that the Texans defense is their best kept secret, even though it's obviously the best part of their team?
I'd say in recent. Oh, my bad, go ahead.
I was just saying, yeah, probably. I don't think anything really stands out. I just think that they're better overall collectively as a team.
Yeah, well, fair enough.
I was going to say in recent years, Texans have definitely been one of those teams. They always outperform the talent they have. They've never been a team that has like a bunch of crazy superstars on defense. They have dudes like, Grenard out of Florida. They had dudes, not Bobby Wagner, geez. They had some linebackers in the past that were really solid, DBs that were kind of like, B-list DBs, but they were playing like A-list, players. And it's because they've always had strong coaching on that side of the ball. I think it's their best kept secret because again, it's just one of those things where people look at the roster and like, okay, this Texans suck, and then they come out there and they're a very well unified unit, and they limit mistakes on defense, and they just don't have the offensive power right now. But they're definitely, once they get that, they're going to be a very complete team the way that defense plays.
Let's see. For me, I think the Texans. Let's move to the ways to win here. For the Texans to win, Mills needs to play fast. There were a lot of plays week 1 and week 2 where Mills is either under an incredible amount of pressure early on, like very quickly, or he's taking forever to read the play, and he's being very indecisive. He's kind of been playing exactly indecisive, kind of like Mariota before Tannehill took over.
Yeah, playing scared.
Playing scared. You don't want to lose the job. That's what he's trying to do. He's just trying to coast essentially and make minimal mistakes, and that's affecting the downfield strategies that we're trying to implement here. So he's got to play fast. He's got to make quick decisions and be decisive. Pierce needs to get loose. Pierce needs to be at least 20 touches this game. They ramped him up from 13 from like 11 or whatever to 15. So Let's see that get up to 20, and I think if he gets 20 carries, I think he'll be pretty close to 100 yards if he doesn't have it. And I don't know, their offensive line is pretty irreparable outside of the left guard and Laramie Tunsil. Britt's probably about to retire. AJ Can, the former Jaguars right guard. Dude, he's not it at all.
Can't stand him. I've been trying to
Yeah,
get him
we've
out
been
of
saying that.
Dude, I cut him, for like 5 years in a row. I cut that dude. Like, I hate him. Can't stand him.
On Madden. Just like, get out
dude,
of here.
I'm like Pete Pisco on the Jaguars show. Every week he's firing Urban Meyer last year. I was like that with AJ Can every week. I'm like, dude, just like he's like a turnstile, bro. Get him out of here.
Yeah.
And then we got our savior, Andrew Norwell. I mean, I saw how that turned out, but
I wish we knew you last year when we could talk crap about Urban Meyer every week.
dude, I would have been right there with you. I was so excited at first, and I was like, wait a minute. I was like, I hate this guy. Why am I excited about this? And then sure enough, he's out there kicking kickers and, doing other stuff in bars. And it's just.
We were talking, even
rough,
before all
man.
that, we were just like, we knew that stuff was going to happen. We just I feel like there's been so much Urban Meyer slander on the Curtis Podcast Network. It's been like and subscribe. And it's just been ridiculous how much slander on him. And he deserves all of it. I saw Florida fans with signs saying, bring back Urban. It's like, are you kidding me?
Oh, I would never.
Oh, God, Urban Meyer. He's actually being rumored to be the
To go
new
to
Nebraska. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Everybody's wearing shirts, making signs. Like, you could have him. Go for it.
Ugh.
That's all you.
Take him.
I guess he's just used to going into bars around college towns and just doing nefarious things.
Hey,
Another way to win for the Texans, I think the defense needs to prepare as if the offense is asleep and just not doing anything. Because there's really two options for this game. I feel like the main option is that it's a close, 17-20 kind of score. The other option is it's even lower scoring. The defenses are just, it's like a 9-6 finish. I could see that happening. Just straight kickers, no touchdowns, Justin Fields and Davis Mills looking like complete dog shit. I could see it happening. But that's all I've got for the ways to win for the Texans. So let's move to the Titans now. All right, so the Titans' offensive line is in trouble, is it not, Blake?
That whole team's in trouble besides punter, man. It's rough. Our punter looks great. He's leading all the categories, but that's one thing you don't want to lead in. Offensive line's terrible, man. Lawan's hurt. Total for the team, there's 11 guys on the injury report. 9 starters are out. And that's not including the IR, Harold Landry starters that got injured in preseason.
Right.
So this entire team's destroyed. Jamarco Jones is their backup,
left guard.
Left guard. He kind of does a little bit of everything. Lawan's hurt, of course. And then the rest of the team just isn't good. Aaron Brewer's 50 pounds more than me playing left guard in the NFL and just doesn't look good. So they're a mess. Nicholas Petit-Friere, he's a gem. Third round pick, fourth round pick at Ohio State. He's been a baller. He's day one starter and he earned that job. So I'm happy for him. So there's one bright side, but they never run it to the right. They exclusively run it left, a toss to the left every single time, and it gets blown up. Offensive line has no run block, no pass block. They can't do anything except commit penalties.
And get hurt.
Yeah, they're real good at that. They're so good at it, they don't have to touch them when they get hurt. They just fall down.
I mean, the Titans have at least last season and this year, they have a really deep injury pool.
Yeah, the most injured players in history last year.
Yeah.
Was it
And they
91 at the end of the year, I think, in total? They had 91 players go down?
Something like that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. They're first seed still. So, I mean, I don't think Tannehill's the problem. He's not looked good, but, the whole team's looked terrible. Mm-hmm. And only one of those interceptions was his fault. The other one was a tip drill. And, you can't really blame him for that one. I feel like that should be an error, in baseball. If I was the NFL commissioner, I would make those errors and not interceptions on the quarterback.
Yeah, I wouldn't even give him a quarterback stat. I think it should be on, it should be, I guess, depending on how it's tipped. If a wide receiver hits it, has his hands on it and it goes and turns into an interception, that should be on the wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so the Titans are playing
Vegas.
The Raiders. So what do the Titans have to do to get a win against the Raiders?
You got to do something on offense. Something. Besides run, pass, punt, you literally just have to move the chains no matter what. You have to do something for your offense because the defense is playing prevent defense the entire game just because the offense can do anything. I would like to see Treylon Burks more in the passing game. PFF, which take whatever you want. He's the number 1 rookie wide receiver in the NFL right now, but it is just PFF. I want to see more Robert Woods. Whenever he has had the ball, he's looked good. He's looked, better than pre-injury, really. But a few of those big plays that he had were called back on holding calls, like boneheaded ones for that on the other side of the field. So I'd like to see something in the receiving game. Derrick Henry needs to start doing something, man. I think Dontrell Hilliard, he looks like he might be playing this week. He was missed bad. We really need that pass catching back.
Yeah.
And then just block. As far as defense, man, you gotta do something, man. They're dead last in the NFL. They're averaging 6.6 yards per play just in general, and that's terrible. You're not even getting to third down with this Titans team. It's so bad that Bills went for it on fourth down nearly every time. That's how much they disrespected the Titans defense because they were just so bad. They had some rookie, Avery, I don't even know his first name, undrafted rookie out of Rutgers, covering Stephon Diggs, like shadowing him. It's like, you have a second-round rookie this year. You also had a first-round rookie last year, and you're putting an undrafted rookie on him. That's poor coaching, man. This was bad. Clock management was terrible. Mike Vrabel, I don't know what he was doing, and Todd Downing is just god-awful. I know the Raiders, they're so excited to play against Todd Downing tomorrow or on Sunday that, man, they're probably, honestly, I'm changing my pick, man. Raiders will win this game. Raiders will win. I'm switching my pick right now. Raiders got this. They're going to go into Nashville, and they're going to win. Yeah, it's gonna happen. I'm switching it. It is. Yeah, I'm going with the Raiders. I just
man.
took myself out of it. I have no faith. Ryan Stonehouse, he's a great punter, and I think I was a huge Brett Kern fan. My old roommate has a Brett Kern jersey. Shout out Nick. And I think we're gonna get Stonehouse jerseys together on some like gay shit, but it's true. We're gonna get some Stonehouse jerseys because Ryan Stonehouse is the truth, and I never want to say that about a punter, but it's true. He's our best player on the team. It's not even close.
It's a dope last name. That makes me want a Stonehouse jersey. Like,
yeah, Stonehouse 4. Like, it sounds like a video game, honestly.
And Blankenship builds Legos, so that makes me want a Blankenship jersey. So
Yeah, you have to wait on that. He's gone, yeah.
Dude, Blankenship in interviews has been like, yeah, I'll probably just go home and build some Legos and chill out. Like he's just
he's on the same team as we are now, man.
Oh God!
Blankenship promoted to spectator.
Was it? What do they call him? Like they called him like Goggle Superman or something like that.
Oh, I don't know.
You know what I'm talking about? I don't know. All right. Anyway.
He's gone now.
Yeah, he's gone now. It's irrelevant. But
yeah, screw the Colts. Tighten up.
It's week 3. AFC South is weak. If the Titans mess around and lose this game, does this really kind of change the trajectory of the season for the Titans?
See, if they go 0-3, at least they won't go 0-4 because they have Indianapolis next. That's all I gotta say.
Well, that is a fair point.
That is a very good point.
And that means you got at least 2 really good shots at a W, like in a 3-week span. So
I mean, you got to think the Titans were 2-4 last year, or 1-3. It was a very bad record. The Titans were at the beginning of last
Colts
year.
And the Titans both started out really bad. And then...
Yeah, we both started off really bad, and Titans ended up being the first seed. So I haven't lost all hope, but if things don't get better, like this better be rock bottom. Like it has to be, And I was talking to someone today, and they were like, that was a terrible game on Sunday. Like, I was going to text you and just see how you felt. But honestly, it wasn't top 5 worst losses I've ever seen. It really wasn't. Like, it was a very bad loss, but, like, it was really bad. But it was so bad it was comical. Like, I'm not even tripping. Like, it really was. It was so bad, and, like, it was so bad in just such fixable ways. Like, they kept muffing punts. Like, you guys, like, that's such easy things to clean up. And if they just do those things, like penalties were their downfall, and then they just kept losing momentum, and then once that player got injured with the neck, they delayed the game for like 20 minutes. And they had a strong drive then, and then they came out just flat, and it was over with.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of fixable things. I did see some good things from the Titans. Roger McCreary does look good. and I really like Nicholas Petit-Friere. Kyle Phillips looks really good when he's not fumbling the football, and Treylon Burks looks really good. So I really do like these young guys. Taylor Lewan continues to be a liability, which I'm a huge Lewan fan, but come on, man, you got to play some football. He's always hurt. Now he's going against Chandler Jones if he does play this Sunday, which I doubt it. And Chandler Jones just bullied him last time they played week 1 against Arizona.
Yeah, last season.
Yeah, I saw that game live, and, man, I saw Taylor Lewan he looked rough, man. Looked bad.
Yeah.
I have a side question for you about the Titans. And so say they come out and they lose this game. Say somehow God makes a miracle and the Colts get a win against you guys in week 4. You start out 0-4. Do you start giving Malik Willis the reps if Tannehill still looks bad? Do you start getting him that experience if Tannehill is consistently playing in a lower tier, I think like he has been this past week?
I think Tannehill would have to be very, very bad for that to happen, only because if we go 0-4, I would rather Malik Willis still, learn. I still want him to sit. I still don't think he's ready, and I feel like if he just came out now on this really bad team, he would get killed, and it might stunt his growth a bit.
Yeah.
So that's what I would be worried about. Also, for 0-4, I would really be looking at the coaching. I would have Todd Downing would have to be gone at this point. I'm definitely not saying fire Vrabel. I don't think that at all. I think Vrabel is the coach. I think Vrabel's going to win a Super Bowl. Hopefully it's with the Titans, but I think he's going to win one in his Super Bowl career or his coaching career. Again, hope it's with Tennessee, but we'll see. I do think Tannehill's good, but he'd have to be very, very, very bad for Malik Willis to come in this early. Okay. But I did like during blowouts, putting him in. If we're blowing somebody out, put him in. If we're getting blown out, put him in.
Yeah.
Because he does need those reps.
Yeah, I respect it.
Well, let's move on to our new teammates' favorite team, the leader of the AFC South, at least for now.
It's all this coming.
For now.
The Jacksonville Jaguars.
At 500.
At 500, leading the pack.
We might make the playoffs at 7-9. Let's go.
You're a distant first and you're 500.
First time in a long time. Let's go.
So, Isaiah.
Yeah.
Is this an early measuring stick game for this very young Jags team?
Oh, for sure. I think whether Herbert starts or not, this is not a guaranteed game. So if Herbert doesn't start, I still think that Chase Daniels is good enough with that offense and the weapons they have. Especially, I think Keenan is starting to practice again. I think he might. I think he's questionable, but I think he might play this week if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I hope not fantasy-wise for being the Mike Williams, though.
I mean, Mike Williams, he got a lot of money to be a number 2 wide receiver, but he's worth it because he can be a number 1 as soon as Keenan's out. He is that guy. He can do that. Spot on. Chase Daniels, in his career, he hasn't really lost games for the team that he comes in and plays for when he comes in. It's a big measuring stick game because we have to see if week 1 Jacksonville defense comes out. And by that, I don't mean Trayvon Walker, Devin Lloyd, those guys. I mean Rayshon Jenkins and Shaq Griffin, the biggest clown duo in the country right now. Week 1, they looked awful. Week 2, they looked great. But of course, we were playing, Ashton Doolin and, anyone else that was on that Colts team that they found at Publix that morning.
Shout out Publix.
Shout out Publix.
But, a big thing is who comes out for them. Shaq Griffin got destroyed twice on, relatively easy coverages in the week 1 game against the Commanders. Terry McLaurin ran straight down the sideline on cover 3. And of course, people are blaming it on Cisco for being there, but it's cover 3. That's Shaq Griffin all day. He's got to be there. And he just, Terry McLaurin, he's fast. Don't get me wrong, but Shaq Griffin ran like a 4.37. He's no slouch. And he just got
Griffin
burned. What's up?
Oh, I'm sorry. You got it.
No. I was done. What were you saying?
Is Shaq Griffin not good at football anymore?
He was good for the Seahawks because he had a great, he had Earl Thomas. They had a great pass rush. And we didn't hit home in week 1 really against Wentz. When we did, he got out of it. Week 2, we were destroying Matt Ryan, so they had plenty of time. The Colts offense line looked terrible. But, who do we – I don't like Shaq Griffin personally. I think we paid him way too much. I liked him when he came in, but the contract was too much. Rayshon Jenkins as well. Apparently Jenkins leads the leagues or tied for pass breakups with 5 right now. Had no clue about that stat. I think 2 or 3 of them were last game. But besides the point, I think, which Jacksonville defense do we get this week? Do we get, can't hold anything and they can just throw it up on us over against Shaq Griffin and Rayshon Jenkins? Or do we get, pushing, getting pass rush, getting pressure, making those errant throws happen, because that was Rayshawn Jenkins' first pick with us. Without that pass rush, he's not just making plays downfield. He's got to have help up front. Just like whenever he played for the Chargers, he looked decent. They had Joey Bosa, they had all these guys. Which Jacksonville defense shows up and which Trevor Lawrence shows up, which offensive line shows up. Even in week 1, Lawrence was like 83% or 85% completion percentage in a clean pocket. But then, he was getting tormented by those 3 defensive linemen up front with Washington, and he looked terrible in all the other plays. Which O-line shows up, it's kind of just a big thing and I feel like that's kind of with the Colts too, is like which team shows up, not to bring them back up, hate them, but which offensive line and which secondary shows up. That's going to be a real test for us, because the Chargers run a 3-4. They probably shouldn't, but they have a great defensive coach and defensive coordinator, they're going to pose a problem whether Herbert's on the field or not. That defense is going to go hard. If we can establish the run early, and we can have some early success moving the football, it's definitely going to be a good measuring stick game for us in terms of, are Jacksonville for real? Are they a real team this year? If we go out and beat the Chargers with Herbert hurt or not, I think that kind of puts us in a new category where, we are in the hunt at least. I'm not going to say, we're the best team in the AFC South for the whole year. We're guaranteed to make it, but definitely puts us in the hunt for potential playoff spot, potentially leading the division. But Houston, no matter how bad or good they've been in the past, they've swept us like 3 or 4 or 5 years in a row. We have trouble in Houston. The Titans sweep us every year too. We kind of have to, see where we go from here with this team. And I think it'll be, even if we lose the game, if we keep it close and our offense moves the ball against that, world-class defense, I think it says something about us going forward.
So that kind of bleeds into my next question. Let's just say the Jags end up losing this game, which most people assume is going to happen. What are some possible moral victories that could come out of this for this, again, very young, very new Jaguars team?
Rashawn Slater, to bring him up for one, he's a really good tackle. He's very young. He is really good. Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker, they haven't really faced like an all-world tackle yet. Trent Williams isn't on the Commanders anymore. He used to be on them, right?
Yeah.
He's not on the Commanders anymore. He's been gone for a couple of years. So, like they were facing, Joe, what's his name over there on the left tackle spot. And then, the Colts left tackle, Quentin Nelson, you're not going to go through and probably name all 5 offensive linemen on their team besides Quentin Nelson. At least not me personally. But this is a real left tackle. Rashawn Slater is young, but he's a dude. Like, he's going to push you around. He's going to, on rundowns especially, he is aggressive. I like Rashawn Slater a lot. He was my favorite tackle coming out that year. I really wish we would have grabbed him. But he's a dude. He's going to push you around. I think that's going to be a big test for not only Trayvon Walker, but also Josh Allen. Because, Josh Allen's had a good first 2 weeks, but, last year he was non-existent. The year before that, he was kind of non-existent as well. We really haven't seen a good Josh Allen since his rookie year. So if we can hit Herbert a couple times, check his oil, a little bit, see how he's doing. And if we can get some push on that, that'll definitely be big. Our young players, Devin Lloyd looked really good in week 2, looked slow in week 1. So, seeing what he can do. Just moving the football on that defense, like I mentioned in the last one. If we can move the football against the Chargers defense, we can move the football against any defense in the league. There's not a better personally, I don't think there's a better pass rush duo in the league right now than Joey Bosa and Matt going 100% at the same time. And they've got D tackles and guys in the middle that aren't going to lose. They're not going to get pushed around in the middle either. They've got guys that'll be there. Jerry Tillery is kind of coming into his own. I've got one of my best friends is a huge Chargers fan, so I hear about it all the time. Asante Samuel Jr., if we can kind of, he's really good, but even through the first 2 weeks in last year, he's young still. He has a lot to learn. He gets confused on stuff. Derwin James is the best safety in the league, in my opinion, when he's healthy. I really I think, personally, he's the best safety in the league when he's healthy. If we can move the ball around him and, get past him, it'll be really big for us with a really young team. So that's the biggest thing. We got rid of pretty much everyone over the age of 26, 27. We've brought in a bunch of youth and a bunch of speed. So
yeah, we'll
have to see how it works out. Marvin Jones is the oldest man on the roster. And, It's just for his leadership ability and the fact that he does not drop passes. But, you know, if we can move the ball in the defense, I'm going to be really happy about it. I think it'll kind of say something moving forward.
So again, that kind of leads into my next question. What ways to win do the Jacksonville Jaguars have in a feasible path to victory?
Hit the quarterback.
No, I mean that's a good answer.
The pass rush was really good last week. The pass rush was not really good the week before. There was a couple plays that got called back because of penalties. I mean, that's a big thing. We had a lot of penalties week 1. Jawan Taylor needs to keep on playing like he's been this whole year. I mean, he's been terrible the past 2 years. You know, he looked pretty good his rookie year. He hasn't let up a single pressure so far this year in the first 2 games, and we've played some pretty stout, you know, defensive lines. DeForest Buckner, you know, Deron Payne, just to name a few guys that he's had to match up against when they're moving those guys around.
Right.
You know, if he stays consistent, our offensive line, I mean, you know, Luke Fortner looked good last week, but the week before, I mean, Luke Fortner looked terrible. He was getting pushed around, a couple sacks. Ben Barch looked awful in week 1. You know, I mean, our O-line needs to come out and protect Trevor. If we can get Trevor time, minimize how many times he gets hit or has hands in his face super early in the down. You know, short underneath stuff, we don't need to try and, you know, push the ball downfield. We don't need to throw more than like 3 or 4 deep shots in the game. They're, you know, Derwin and Asante Samuel Jr. will tear us up if we try and just push the ball downfield every play on them. They're not small. That's a big thing. They're big and athletic. You know, moving the ball early, running the ball. We really need to establish the run game with Etienne and Robinson. We need to have that 1-2 punch come in. Defense, I mean, you know, I don't want to say play perfect and have the old cliche, but we really need to play perfect. You know, week 1, we got destroyed on the run game. Austin Eckler is probably one of the best, if not the best, 2-way backs in the league right now. Yeah. You know, I mean, aside from a healthy CMC or Saquon's kind of back now. I mean, JT's really good both sides, but you know, Eckler's something, he's a problem. And they've got a couple guys behind him that can move the ball too. So, I mean, you know, just, you know, playing perfect, minimizing mistakes, and not playing like we did in week 1 and killing ourselves with penalties and stuff. I mean, we just got to make sure we hit them in the mouth early and let them know that we're there, we're in that game. And, you know, if they come out and score, if they get up by 2 touchdowns, we lose that game. You know, if they come out, we can't score on the first drive, we probably lose that game, honestly.
Yeah. All right. Well, do you have any particular players to watch in this matchup?
Christian Kirk has looked really good. I mean, anybody who plays fantasy football has been kind of mad that they didn't pick Christian Kirk right now. Yeah. He's been really good. He's playing up to his contract as of now. It's a 17-game season, so we'll see. I think Etienne, I think he'll have a good game this week because of the fact that, you know, they are so stout up front. We're going to be throwing more screens and pitch plays, kind of get him outside. Because, you know, I mean, they've got great DBs. I mean, Samuel's got a little bit smaller of a guy. You know, if he can hit the edge, I think he'll have a big week this week because they're just going to, anytime he's in, you know, hopefully we can get it moving. Trayvon Walker, of course, you know, I think he's been much higher than expected.
Yeah, we were pretty low on him.
Honestly, at first I wasn't low on him. I wasn't against drafting him, but I wanted Hutchinson. But just watching more tape and different stuff, and I'm a big Florida fan, so I've seen him for a couple of years. I mean, right. I was pretty excited about him. I think he has, you know, a Khalil Mack ceiling in terms of pass rush, but I think he has a higher ceiling in terms of coverage because he's a little bit more athletic than him. But I mean, I don't see him getting that high as Khalil Mack in pass rush. He's still not that guy. He's great in run stuffing. But he's still young. He makes mistakes. He misses stuff. Right. And Andre Sisco, that safety out of Syracuse we got last year, he led in interceptions his junior year in college, and he got hurt his senior year. He was a lot of guys' #1 ranked safety coming out of college before he got hurt. He got a pick last week. He's getting better and better. I think he might. You know, if they try and push the ball downfield with Herbert or with Chase Daniel, I mean, I think he could definitely be in there. So those are kind of my 4 guys I'd look out for this week.
Okay. Well, to anybody who can hear the squealing noise in the background of my microphone, that's my son just playing in his room. I think that's about all I've got for today's episode. Do you guys have any final comments?
I hope the Titans don't go 0-3. And fire Downing, please.
That'd be the new Music City Miracle right there if he gets fired.
Yeah, I'll be very happy. I'll be the
How's
OC.
that?
I'll work for free.
I hope that in reality, like, I hope that Justin Herbert's fine and, like, heals up real nicely. But on the other hand, like, in the football world, it'd be really nice if he didn't play the next week, because Houston plays the Chargers. So I don't know if you guys can, like, what was that guy? Oh, if you guys could, like, Greg Williams him, that'd be
Hey,
great.
no malicious
Oh, man.
intent.
No,
No malicious
right.
intent.
No malicious intent.
Just checking the oil, just like seeing how it's doing under the hood. That's like I said early, that's a big thing. Is I really like Herbert. I like him as a player. He's a very dynamic player. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch. Even though Trevor Lawrence said he's not one of his, anyways. I mean, he's a good hit away from being out 3 to 6 weeks, and I don't want to see that happen to him. It'd be great for our conference because the Titans and the Jaguars will be on top at that point. We're flipping the script. But no, man. I mean, I think he'll be fine. I think he'll play. But I'm not going to be upset if. Let me be careful about this one. I don't want him to get hurt, but if something happens and he is not playing in the game, and we win, I'm not going to be upset about the fact that we win. Let's just put it that way,
Yeah. Well, that's going to do it. I think we've pretty much covered all the bases for the previews this week. Gentlemen, thank you both for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
Folks at home, go ahead, hit that like and subscribe button. 100 subscriber goal by the end of September. One lucky new subscriber will get their choice of free merch from the merch store, which is in the description. So, with that being said, be good people.